And what's going on, guys? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for another live review of SmackDown Live, the December 5th, 2017 edition of SmackDown Live. We are just 20 days away from Christmas. Yeah, just not too many more episodes of Raw or SmackDown or even NXT left until Christmas Day. So we're winding down towards the end of the year, as I keep saying. And this is the first SmackDown Live review of December. So let's get right into it and talk about the show. Overall, another kind of average show. Nothing was really terrible. Well, not really that terrible. There was a couple underwhelming parts I felt a little bit, but there were some good on this show. So again, I was back and forth between giving this an average grade, but I think I gave it a little bit higher of a grade that I was originally going to give it. But overall, average, a little above average episode of SmackDown tonight. Did some stuff, but not a lot to really get me that hyped for Clash of Champions. The stipulation, though, at the end added for one of the matches that, it's possible it could be the main event. I don't know if it will be or not, but stipulation added there. So again, we'll talk about it and see what comes through. So first, we of course have the intro video, and then we start off SmackDown with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn making their way to the ring. Of course, we're wondering, is there going to be any consequences for Sami Zayn based off of last week getting involved in the match after he was banned from ringside in the match with Kevin Owens against Randy Orton? So they come down and they welcome to the Sami and Kevin show, but of course, Sami being as generous as he is to Kevin, saying, let's call it the Kevin and Sami show. And then of course they talk about again how they believe Shane McMahon has a vendetta against them. They're a victim of this. He's like, just ask Daniel Bryan, Bret Hart, or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Just ask them, because let's face it, they're better than any. Sami and Kevin are saying they're better than any of those guys combined, and they mentioned that they just mentioned, and then they're the latest victims of the McMahon family wrath. Point out last week, Shane McMahon, who supposed to have the best interest, they tried to end Kevin Owens' career by the destruction of Randy Orton. And Sami says it's funny because history seems to repeat itself, as they talk about Randy Orton's history of doing the McMahon family's dirty work. First was with Stephanie McMahon, of course, that he was feuding against the McMahons, and now he's doing the dirty work for Shane McMahon. And then he think that Shane just can't get over the fact that he was humiliated at Hell in a Cell by Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then also he can't get over the fact that he failed at winning Survivor Series because they weren't a part of it. So then we had and Sami says that the embarrassing part is he doesn't even plan the work, and KO says he knew what he had to do last week when he made the match no disqualification with Sami barred from ringside. He'd have to beat Randy up so bad he'd no longer be an option for Shane to show the world he's not afraid of the Viper or this vendetta. And to do that, he had to outsmart Shane. And of course, Sami came out and pointed out what's ringside and what's not ringside. Like, being smart, Alex says technically I was not at ringside. And then they go on and on about things, checking off things. Their lines to be check, double check, triple check. But out of nowhere comes Randy Orton and RKO. It's a nice RKO out of nowhere as usual, which again, not bad, but again, just Blandy being Blandy. But this feud with him, Owens, and Zayn has been all right, I'd say. He seems like he's actually giving more of a crap. An RKO out of nowhere. Sami is stunned, but then Shane makes his entrance. It's blocking off. They both can't make a break for it. Well, he can't make a break for it. He's stuck in between, and KO is laid out. And Shane comes out thanking Sami of a tutorial about what ringside is and what isn't. But he wants to clear up a few things. First, he doesn't have a personal vendetta against him, and they feel disrespected for not having anything in Survivor Series. But Zayn says, so here's the thing. I'll give you guys a match at Clash of Champions. You'll face Randy Orton and a partner of his choosing. So it was pretty obvious who was going to be. And at first I'm like, whatever. But then the stakes were raised later on tonight. We'll get to that later on. He says, but since Sammy's so hopped up with energy, he wants to give him something to do tonight and have a one-on-one match with, let me think. Oh, Randy Orton. So, and he says, and once Owens is able to, revive himself from his RKO, he's more than welcome to join a ringside. But I insist on it because he's going to be handcuffed to the ropes, so that way he cannot interfere in the match. Owens pretty much didn't know that at first, but then we had the backstage segment after commercial where KO is like, what just happened? And then like Sammy tells him what happens, and he's like, they're of course upset because KO has to be handcuffed to ringside. Like, no, we can't do this because you know what? I want to talk to Daniel Bryan and we'll get this figured out. That's how we get this fixed. And then we had the next match. It was New Day, Big E, and Kofi Kingston taking on Rusev Day, Aiden English and Rusev. And Rusev Day has a T-shirt. Rusev Day has a T-shirt. I mean, again, I like Rusev. Aiden English, he's all right. But I'm sorry, I can't get behind this whole Rusev Day thing. I just find it annoying. Rusev just sounds like a 5-year-old kid pretty much just walking around every time he gets a picture going, Rusev Day! Rusev Day! I can't stand it. But they come out, and of course, they start saying how, since Christmas comes, there's a 12 days of Christmas. Well, every day is Rusev Day, so we'll sing the 12 days of Rusev. So the first one was on the first day of Rusev, whatever it was. First day one was a tag team victory, and then the second day was 2 Rusev shirts. Before you get to the third day, the New Day make their entrance, and they of course start tossing out pancakes in the crowd because that's their latest thing is pancakes. We had Bootios, we had New Day underwear, we had New Day pops. I still think that slogan over as weird. The a mouthful of magic, you just gotta have it. That just sounds way too weird. Now it's pancakes, so. All right, can I have some chocolate chips with butter on top of them? I'd take any of them. So we had this match. It was the New Day, with a team of Big E and Kofi taking on Aiden English and Rusev. I had a slight hunch of what may be happening in this match because there were 3 title matches announced for the weekend being added to the card for Clash of Champions, and one of them was a triple threat match between the Usos, Shelton Benjamin, Chad Gable, that team, and the New Day, which makes sense because the New Day did defeat the #1 contenders in a tag match the other week. So I'm like, okay, I understand that. So I'm like, I wonder if this is going to be a case because, it didn't seem like there, because that's why in my card prediction, I did predict a 8-man elimination match between the New Day and Randy Orton taking on the team of Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, and Aiden English and Rusev. Because whenever they were trying to sucker the 2 of them into taking their side during their lumberjack match against the New Day, it seemed that that at the end of the match it seemed that Rusev and English were kind of on their side and New Day take them out. But New Day take them out, so okay, now this makes sense. If Rusev and Aiden English win this match, then they may be added into the match as well, making a fatal 4-way. There's also a second triple threat match. So I'm like, why would you have 2 triple threat matches at one event? But it makes sense now because Rusev and English won. Pretty good tag match. I mean, I'm not going to deny it's definitely one of the better showings I've seen Rusev have in a while. I mean, he did have a good match against Randy Orton at Hell in a Cell, even though he lost. But yeah, they won after Rusev hit one of his big thrust kicks on Kofi Kingston to get the victory. And right after the commercials announced that they've been added to the match. So it's now a fatal 4-way. So that's one match I'm looking forward to, a Clash of Champions. This fatal 4-way between the Usos, Shelton Benjamin, and Chad Gable, the New Day, and I'm not going to call them Rusev Day, Rusev and Aiden English. So I look forward to seeing the match. Good match by these 2 teams. And then backstage we have recapping what happened last week with the Hype Brothers splitting up, with Mojo Rawley turning heel. And he's mentioning how, everyone keeps getting on him about what he did to Zack Ryder. Even Rob Gronkowski, the guy who got involved, that New England Patriots star who got involved in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, is questioning too. or he's asking him why. And he's like, well, the second Ryder got hurt, he went on one of the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal in memory of Andre the Giant by himself. He did it by himself. No, that's bullcrap. He did this with the help of Gronkowski. And then he's like, things were going my way. And then Zach comes back and he drags down like a bunch of dead weight. But I am a serious competitor, and I'm nobody's tag team partner because I'm a superstar. And if anyone in the locker room or in the arena or anywhere has a problem with what I did the Ryder, they can shove it. Now, again, it's like, yes, Mojo did win the Honor the Giant, but with the help of Gronk. What's he really done ever since? Nothing really. So he doesn't have much success really, rub off on pretty much. He's just sounding a little full of himself. So we're probably gonna get a match between Mojo and Ryder at Clash of Champions, but I don't. Right now, they gotta do something to make me believe that they're gonna do something more than just split these guys up. I mean, anything they're probably gonna just just two more low card guys on the roster. So we'll see what happens. But that was Mojo explaining his actions. Besides saying the landscape has changed from last week. Then we have a backstage segment again. Daniel Bryan is listening to Carmella, Lana, and Tamina just argue. And Carmella's talking about getting rid of Ellsworth justifies her giving a spot at Clash of Champions for the title match. Lana says that that Tamina deserves a shot at Charlotte. But Daniel Bryan says he's sorry, but the match is already set. He says, well, Carmella, you could join if you cash in your contract. And then Carmella's like, you know what? No, not yet. I don't feel like handing over Frankie yet. She's named the contract Frankie. So what do you know? Maybe the Money in the Bank briefcase will get over by being called Frankie. Maybe Frankie will get over somehow. Now it's weird things seem to happen. So now that Carmella's naming things Frankie, we'll see if it happens. But then out of nowhere comes the Riot Squad. That's right, Riot Squad again. Remember, 2 T's. Ruby Riott has 2 T's in her name now, as I need to mention. And they say how they've made the Earth move. And she even pinned the women's champion at tag match. She did. And she's surprised she hasn't even been in the title match. And Liv Morgan calls Daniel Bryan a superficial and prejudiced against blondes. And Sarah Logan agrees, adding that he is biased against Southerners since she's a Southern girl. And Ruby says that they didn't come. He didn't let us come here to be a bunch of afterthoughts. And then, the 6 of them all start bickering pretty much. And then Bryan just, says like this, just like, looks like he's about to like blow up, but just like snaps. It's like, quiet. And he says, you're all going to be involved in the championship match because at Clash of Champions, it's going to be Charlotte versus Natalya in a lumberjack match. I don't know. I mean, I'll talk about this a little bit more when I get to the women's match that happens. And then in the locker room, now it was also announced that a triple threat taking place at Clash of Champions still is going to be a triple threat with Baron Corbin, Bobby Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. Why is Dolph in this match? I mean, Corbin and Roode somewhat got started when in the lumberjack match a few weeks ago when Corbin meant to throw a punch at can't remember who it was, but instead he accidentally hit Bobby Roode, and then they started fighting based off that. I kind of understand that, but Roode and Ziggler, their feud ended. Like Dolph was at the point where he was pretty much just admit that he feels he's find out a career. I thought Dolph was on his way out. Now you're giving him another title shot. I don't get it. And then we had this backstage segment though with Roode and Corbin getting ready for their one-on-one match. Saying that Roode knows he can beat Corbin one-on-one, but with Dolph Ziggler added, it makes is each of them getting a third of a chance, and then to win. And then Ziggler rolls up and says that people are down I should be in this match, but remember I'm a 2-time world champion, a 5-time Intercontinental champion. He cashed in Money in the Bank, and he even had the U.S. title at one point too. So their odds dropped down to 0. So we see that match later. Then we had a squash match between the Bludgeon Brothers, Harper and Rowan, taking on 2 jobbers, Adam James and Josh Carr. There's a squash match. Still really digging this theme song. But again, I'm continuing to be a little more impressed with the Bludgeon Brothers. I don't know about the name, but I was worried that they would just bring back Harper and Rowan and just be the Y family members still. Just in different gear and different ring attire and different theme song. But, the theme song, I really like. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Sounds like legitimately scary monsters who are going to tear up the tag team division. And they just squashed these two guys like no tomorrow. So cool, they get another win. And then we have Sami Zayn and KO backstage again, and Sammy asking him if he's spoken to Daniel Bryan, and he said, "But if you haven't, maybe we might be able to get a lawyer whenever about this." And then Owen says, like, settle down. Daniel said he'd think about it, and so we just have to wait and see what happens there. And then we had the match between Bobby Roode and Baron Corbin with Dolph Ziggler on commentary. The match just felt pointless because, again, why is Dolph in this match? He just gets to the ring and just takes them both out. It's like, okay, you just lost all the momentum. You put over Bobby Roode, and now you're in this match for no reason. You're just taking these two out. I don't get it. This match, this feud should just be Roode and Corbin. I don't know why Ziggler has to be involved in this, but he just he gets involved. Corbin wins by disqualification. He zigzags both of them. I don't know. He looked good from it, but still, it's like, it doesn't make any sense. I thought, well, once again, wins and losses do not matter, apparently. So, whatever. But then we have another women's segment backstage. We have Natalya and her little, cat ears talking to Carmella, Tamina, and Lana, saying how she's excited they're going to be at ringside for their match at Clash of Champions. And pretty much is just like trying to, sweet talk them into, siding with her so she can get her championship back. And saying like how, oh yeah, if Charlotte comes out at ringside and, attacks you, you have the right to attack back. But when I come out, you're just going to, just let me take my time and get right back in. Right. But she's also saying, you'll do the right thing, though. If something happens, I'm at the side with the Riot Squad. Because it's obvious that, Natalya's scared to death of the Riot Squad. As, the Riot Squad don't have any other friends but the three of them, and they're out to get anybody there. But then she reminded them of how they were once the welcoming committee, which that was awful. And then the Riot Squad comes up and of course Natty just tries to kiss up them by saying we're the welcoming committee welcoming you guys, and she thanks them for taking out Becky Lynch and Naomi. They say you should be honored. She's honored that she's sharing the spotlight with the most powerful women in the world. And then she just runs off, and then the six Lumberjills stare them down. Then we had just a package for the match between Jinder Mahal and AJ Styles, which both weren't on the show. No AJ Styles on the show tonight. Whatever. Then we had this match, Charlotte and Tamina. Boring again. Tamina just isn't really cutting it for me. She just laid there and let Charlotte just bridge herself into the figure 8, and Tamina taps out. Didn't look good at all. After the match, Natalya gets on the mic, just saying congratulations on your win, Charlotte, but you should enjoy your last taste of victory because she's taking a title back at Clash of Champions, and you will bow down to her. We had Carmella, Lana, and Tamina staying on the ring, saying, "Take a look around. This is a taste of what a lumberjack match is going to look like." She's trying to get into her head and make Charlotte paranoid, but then here comes the Riot Squad out, and Ruby tells Natty to hold on, saying, "For once, I agree with you. They should give their beloved champion a preview of what's in store for her, but what's a preview without the stars on the show?" So pretty much just, Ruby says, "Pop your popcorn and get ready for your feature presentation." I'm expecting some big brawl to break out between, the six of them, or they could even all, attack. We're all going to attack just Charlotte. They're all going to attack, the six of each other and whatnot. But this is like a mess. And all we got was Sarah Logan and Tamina going at it. So we're probably going to get a match next week between Sarah Logan and Tamina. Yay. Charlotte just walks away. I don't get this. Why is 2/3 of the women's division heels and a third of its babyface, especially on SmackDown? Right now, Becky's away for a couple weeks working on a film. Naomi apparently is written off too. So now Charlotte's really the only babyface in the women's division right now. This makes no sense. It doesn't. I mean, yes, the Riot Squad are here to take out anybody, but it doesn't make any sense. Again, all this did was set up a match between Tamina and Sarah Logan. Two bigger women. Yay. I'd rather see Sarah Logan and Charlotte. Nothing with Tamina, because Tamina's terrible. She's not cutting it. But before we get to the main event, I gotta say also, I thought last week we were supposed to get a follow up of what happened from last week's Fashion Files episode with the Ascension being mobbed by that poisonous gas. Is said to be continued. We're supposed to be getting the next part this week, but it didn't happen. Again, the Fashion Files don't appear after being advertised. And as I posted a GIF of Harry Potter saying, "You liar!" That's all I do, WWE. You lie! You lie! But then we get to the main event. First, we have backstage. We have KO and Sammy find Daniel Bryan, and they say, we thank you for the bottom of our heart for, hearing him out. And Bryan says he's considered it, and he's saying how on one hand, he thinks it's embarrassing to have Owens shackled like a rabbit dog, but on the other hand, it's important to make sure there's no interference in the match. So he's taking Shane's side. And, they have security guards standing there holding up the handcuffs. And they get to ringside after commercial, and they're just, just like protesting against the stipulation. But Bryan says if you don't do it, Owens will be suspended. So finally, Owens just gives in, allows himself to be handcuffed on the bottom rope. But of course, him and Sam are trying to come up with another plan. Orton comes in. We have the match: Sami Zayn and Randy Orton, almost like Kevin Orton, with Kevin Owens at ringside, but in a handcuff. So the match wasn't too bad. Nothing really fancy, but it was just pretty much just setting up for what's yet to come with these two. As at this point, it's just Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, a partner of his choice at Clash of Champions, which it was pretty obvious it was going to be. Kevin Owens though eventually would break free of the handcuff because Sami found some bolt cutters underneath the ring, which allowed Owens to be free, but it didn't work out as Orton won with a schoolboy pin roll up. But afterwards, Owens gets in and they both attack Orton before Shinsuke Nakamura comes in, and it was pretty obvious it was gonna be Nakamura being Orton's partner. They hit the King Shasa and RKOs on both Zayn and Owens. And it was obviously, that Orton and Nakamura shook hands on it. So they made it official that is going to be Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens at Clash of Champions. So first I'm like, it's pretty obvious, what's the point? We've seen this match how many times already? But then we have backstage, we have Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon watching on a TV. So there you have it. He's like, are you done with punishing Zayn and Owens constantly? And then Shane's like, no, you're crazy. I'm just warming up. He forgot to mention that he didn't tell them yet, but at Clash of Champions between this match, he's gonna be the special guest referee. And if Owens and Zayn lose, they'll be fired, not just from SmackDown, but all of WWE. Which, again, Daniel Bryan just seems a little concerned about this. Again, it's confusing. It's obvious that, something, the stakes raise made this more interesting. I think there's a chance this could be the main event. I mean, AJ and Jinder doesn't really need to be a main event match because it's Jinder Mahal in the match. So, I mean, I'll be okay with seeing these four in the main event because the stakes are probably the highest here. I'm sure Shane's going to call a fair match unless if Owens and Zayn, push the limit on him. But something's going to happen. Something needs to happen, whether it involves Daniel Bryan. I mean, I don't know. I would not want to see Daniel Bryan turn heel. It wouldn't make sense for Daniel Bryan to turn heel. But I feel like there's going to be some type of exclamation point coming up between this tension between him and Shane recently. Or Randy Orton could be turning heel on Nakamura. I don't know what's going to happen, but definitely it's interesting now, and it has me a little bit more looking forward to Clash of Champions. So we'll see what happens between this match, Clash of Champions. But that is it for this week's episode of SmackDown Live for the review. Again, wasn't really that great of a show, but I feel like it was a little bit better than I came out feeling like it was. So first of all, I was going to give this show a C, but I enjoyed the build to this tag match with Owens and Zayn and Orton and Nakamura. I'm actually a little bit more interested because of the stakes in this match. I like the stuff with the tag team divisions. I didn't like the stuff with the women's division, or I didn't really like the stuff for the U.S. title. But we still had some good on this show. The Bludgeon Brothers, destroying again. I still like somewhat enjoy it a little bit more than just an average show. That's why I'm gonna give this show a C+. Check the polls here really quick on Twitter. What grade would you give SmackDown Live? I have 6 votes. 17% said A, 17% said B, 33% said C, and 33% said D. And which show did you enjoy more this week, Raw or SmackDown Live? Only 2 votes, 50-50. One enjoyed Raw, one enjoyed SmackDown Live. So for my grade, again, I gave it a C+. I also gonna give the edge to Raw though this week. Definitely, Raw was a little more enjoyable to me than SmackDown Live. But that's it, guys. What are your thoughts on tonight's episode of SmackDown Live? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, be sure to click that like and subscribe. I have more content to come to this channel. Follow me on Twitter at TheManAirboy93. I should be live for my NXT review tomorrow night. And then to stay tuned for any other odds and ends that come to this channel. Until then, guys, have a great night.